All right, boys and girls, it is time for the round two preview between two heavyweights in the Eastern Conference. Round two begins Sunday, or this series at least, May 4th, in Cleveland, Ohio. It's between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cavs are coming off a dominant, largest margin of victory sweep in playoff history, and they just absolutely took it to the Heat. They made the Heat quit. And then the Pacers, they obviously, on Tyrese's game winner in Game 5, they beat Milwaukee 4-1. So both are riding high, combined 8-1 heading into this series. Obviously, rooting for my Cavs, and I think it's going to be a fun series. Honestly, I do not think it's going to be easy by any stretch. I know, it's easy to say, oh, the one seed, yeah, they're going to make it through. It's just, we're just fast forwarding to Cavs Celtics. No, I think it's going to be a tough series, and I trust us. I trust our chances here, but again, Indiana's a hell of a team, man. So I don't want to sleep on them at all. And Tyrese is a playmaker. Obviously, his dad had that controversial moment at the end there with Giannis, but regardless, he's a great player, and he tweeted, overrated, that he was voted most overrated player in the league. I think him, Giannis, and someone else. I don't remember who it was, but I don't know how you can say that they're overrated. I mean, they're all, they're good in their own ways, sure, but I don't think it's fair to say that they're overrated. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun series, man. Obviously, it's two. I guess I don't know if you want to call it regional teams. But it's around 2-3 hours away from each other. But man, I'm excited. It's just gonna be a good heavyweight duo, and the Pacers, they obviously took 3 of 4 from us in the regular season, but at the same time, it's different because we didn't have our starters out there, the last two meetings, and it just led to just, I guess if you want to call it, it wasn't really an even test because I don't know about the last game, but I know the Pacers, they had something to play for, but regardless, man, I think it's gonna be a good series. I do think we look at us, man. A first round sweep, literally the most dominant first round sweep. Defense just absolutely killed Miami. I know they're a 37-win play-in team, logistically, but it's the Heat culture. You don't do this to the Miami Heat. You're not gonna find them like this, but they're well rested and healthy, and that's what I love. But yeah, man, I'm excited. We got the DPOY, we got Donovan Mitchell. He's been rolling. He didn't have the greatest couple games in the world in the first round, but he didn't need to. We just took it to him, and then obviously Darius Garland gets to rest that toe, and just Jarrett Allen continues to be a force in the paint, and he may not be a top 10 center in the league. I know there's a debate you can have. I think he is, but he may not be looked as that. But he's one of the best centers that we could ever, kind of use for this team and the system. So I'm happy where we're at, of course. Then we look at our opponent this series rather. The Indiana Pacers. They got a strong offense. They got fast pace. They knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks 4-1. Tyrese continues to just be the engine for that team. And then Benedict Mathurin, he's been, an underrated player for that team. Pascal Siakam continues to, show his playoff experience. He's been scoring the ball well. But in the end, it's all about this dude. And he's obviously the biggest reason that they won that series last time. This last round. And I think if they do somehow win this series, which I hope to God it doesn't happen, I feel like he's going to be probably the biggest reason. But, let's hope it doesn't get to that point, man. Let's just hope that it's a good series between two, just amazing teams in this Eastern Conference. I think Indiana, look, I know Celtics, they probably got a easier path than we do. Between the Pistons and Knicks, I think the Celtics will mop them both. No disrespect to those other teams, but Knicks blowing a 3-1 lead, by the way, would be absolutely hilarious. They're up 3-2 right now. If the Pistons came in the next two, that'd be so funny. But yeah, Pistons, I think they can give the Celtics a fight if they do win the series. If the Knicks win the series, of course they'll give Boston a fight, but I think Boston will take care of them rather easily. And then the Knicks, you look at their record against top teams, winless, very, very bad. And that's why I feel like Boston's going to handle them pretty well. I always pick them in 4, maximum 5 games. But Indiana, I could see them sneaking up 2 games. And in fact, that's actually what I'm projecting. I predict that it's going to be Cavs in 6, but I'm not going to count out these guys. I mean, they got good coaching, they got a good team, man. They got experience. They're not as, I guess, playoff experience deficient as the experts or whatnot will have you, believing. They're a good team and they fight. And you could argue that they could have put up a much better fight against the Celtics in those conference finals, And that's all I can really say about them. I mean, they're a good team. A lot of respect to them. Hats off to those guys, what they've done. And I always had a tremendous respect for Tyrese, of course. But, we got Evan Mobley, like I said, Defensive Player of the Year. He can guard inside out. Jarrett Allen, he's an elite rim protector. And like I said, I think the defensive versatility is going to be key for this series. We limit their role players. We can let Tyrese go for 30. We can let him go for 40. But at the end, we got to limit these other guys. And that's, I think, especially Benedict and Pascal. I mean, those are two guys that, honestly, I think, along with Tyrese, I'm gonna just say that they got to play well for them to have a chance to win. But if we can slow them down, I like our chances in a really, really quick, not quick in the sense like these, blowout, we're going to blow them out every single game. But I think it'll be 4 or 5 tough, grinded out games. But I think I have a lot of respect for Indiana, like a lot of respect for their coaching, a lot of respect for Tyrese. And honestly, the one thing that's kind of making this tough is the way that they were able to, even with Dame, without Dame, just the way that they were able to handle the Milwaukee Bucks. And then Miles Turner, he's not a joke. What's his name? Obi Toppin, also, he's not a joke. I mean, they got a lot of size. They got a lot of just ballers on that team. And honestly, they give me kind of in the sense Jimmy Butler. Here's the thing with Jimmy Butler: he may not show it in terms of just raw skill, but just his will and determination, I think, is what makes him so great. And obviously, I think that makes this Pacers team great. And they got just some good players that can really just take it to this defense, and that's why I think the Cavs, they got to be ready right from the jump. They're going to be, you can view it as rest versus rust. I view it as rest because I trust this Cavs team. They're mentally tough, and I think that's going to be the reason that they hopefully, and I think they'll win this series. But we can't get off to a good, slow start because Indiana's a good team. They're not going to play from behind that often because if they play from behind, they have all the capabilities of coming back. So I think we just got to put our foot on the neck. But yeah, they're a threat. I mean, I trust us, but they're still a threat. I mean, you can't just say that. You can't dismiss them as not a threat. I mean, they're here for a reason. So Pacers, all the respect to you guys, but we'll see you guys. A lot of the fans are talking shit already, but we'll see you guys Sunday, and hopefully it's a good series. But I like our chances because we have more playoff experience, a better overall defense. We have good scoring between Garland, who's going to be healthy, and I don't know what that Heat play. I don't know if it was Bam or somebody. He was saying they're better without Garland on the floor. I have no idea what he's talking about. But I know that we gave them the largest beatdown that they've ever seen in a playoff game. But I know that was without Garland. But holy crap, if you're going to say that that, you gotta be studied. That's all I'm going to say. But again, Evan Mobley can do it all. Donovan Mitchell, he can create his own stuff when offense isn't rolling. He can create it. He's a superstar for a reason. And, if it's a close game down the stretch, I like our defense and shot-making chances. I think that we're the most clutch team in the league this year. So I have no doubt that we're going to just continue to do it against Indiana. But I like our chances. I'm going to say Cleveland in 6 is my prediction. We move on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2017 to 18 season. And that was also against the Boston Celtics. So if we can go back against them and give them a taste of what we did, first of all, revenge for last year, but the same type of taste that we did in 2017-18, that would be beautiful. But we got to get there first. We got to beat Indiana. Boston, they obviously got to do their part. Part of me wants Boston to lose because, I just don't like Boston. But part of me wants to see them, I kind of want to take it to them. But it is what it is. Should be a good series. It's Cavs Pacers. You guys have a good one. Let them know. And we're on to round number 2, baby.